Week 1 is in the books, and somehow, the Eagles' defense, which is already one of the scariest in the league, just found a way to get even more terrifying. A couple of Philly's emerging stars just sent a loud message to the rest of the NFL, and one of them, a completely under-the-radar gem who exploded in his debut. But as if that wasn't enough to get Eagles fans buzzing, rookie linebacker Jihad Campbell has already made such a strong impression that the coaching staff could be facing a brutal decision when Nakobe Dean is back and ready to go. Jalen Carter finally got clarity from the league on his situation, and the verdict? Great news for Philly. He won't be suspended after all, but not everyone is handing out praise. Defensive coordinator Vic Fangio had some tough love for Carter and for one of the other rookies in the secondary. And with a huge game against the Chiefs looming, every bit of preparation, discipline, and accountability is going to matter. Out of nowhere, Howie Roseman struck again, this time pulling off a late-night deal with Jacksonville to bring in the young running back, a move that might turn out to be a lot more significant than people realize. Especially now, after a surprising injury update on Will Shipley. The Eagles might be forced to throw Bigsby into the fire right away, not just on offense, but also as a potential difference maker on special teams. There's a lot to unpack there. But let's go back to the defense for a second, because that side of the ball was the story of Week 1. The breakout performance from Josh Uche might have been one of the most impressive debuts for any player in the NFL this season. Not only was he the highest-graded defender on the team, he was the highest-graded defender across the entire league, according to Pro Football Focus. That's not hype, that's numbers. And when you turn on the tape, it backs it up in a big way. Uche was abusing the Cowboys' offensive line from start to finish. Terrence Steele had no answer for his speed off the edge, and Tyler Guyton didn't fare much better. Uche was winning inside, outside, with technique, with effort. It was relentless. He finished the game with the top pass rush win rate in the NFL at over 48%. That's a ridiculous number. And what makes it even more exciting is that this is a guy who flew under the radar, not some big-name free agent or flashy draft pick. The Eagles might have found themselves a legit game-changer for cheap. Now, pairing that with the performance of rookie linebacker Jihad Campbell, that's when things get scary. Campbell, in his first ever NFL game, looked like he belonged from the first snap. He had a near-perfect pass breakup that saved a touchdown, forced a fumble, and racked up a coverage grade of nearly 90 from PFF. There's still stuff he needs to clean up, especially when it comes to taking on blocks, but the raw athleticism and instincts are off the charts. In fact, he played so well that some analysts are already calling Campbell and Zach Bond the best linebacker duo in the entire NFL. That's obviously a bold statement after one game, but when you watch the tape, it doesn't sound crazy. They were everywhere, fast, physical, decisive. And more importantly, they looked like they understood the system. That's huge, especially under a coordinator like Vic Fangio, who isn't exactly known for making life easy on young defenders. So here's the problem. Nakobe Dean is coming back. And he's not just some rotational guy. He was a major part of this defense last year. Over 130 tackles, always around the ball, high football IQ. So now what? Do you take the rookie off the field when he's flying around making plays? Or do you bench a proven vet like Dean, who hasn't even done anything to lose the job? It's a good problem to have, but it's definitely a problem. And this is what happens when your front office keeps stacking talent. Because that's not the only new face making noise. The Eagles also just added Zadarius Smith to the mix, fresh off a 9-sack season and celebrating his 33rd birthday by revealing Hill were number 52 in Philly. Now, sure, he's got some catching up to do. He trained alone all off-season and just joined the team, so he might need a few weeks to get fully up to speed. But the upside is real. If he stays healthy and finds his rhythm, he could be another veteran weapon on an already stacked defensive line. And yet, adding Smith to the rotation creates even more questions, especially for guys like Azeez Ojulari, who was a healthy scratch in Week 1. It's easy to forget, but this is a player who had 6 sacks last year and flashed serious potential. Now, with Smith in the building and Patrick Johnson getting called up to the active roster, Ojulari could be the odd man out. It doesn't mean his Eagles journey is over, but it definitely complicates things. Still, if there's one thing the Eagles have done better than anyone over the last couple years, it's building depth real competitive depth. And we're already seeing the benefits. Back to Tank Bigsby for a second. His arrival wasn't just about filling out the running back room. The Eagles clearly believe he can be a real threat as a kick returner. And with the new NFL kickoff rules, that job just got a lot more valuable. Over the past 3 seasons, Bigsby has returned 11 kicks for more than 300 yards, averaging over 28 yards per return. And last year, even better, 6 returns, nearly 200 yards, 2 returns over 40 yards, and all of them went for at least 20. He even had 1 solid return against the Eagles themselves. And let's just say Nolan Smith probably doesn't want to watch that one back. So it's easy to see why special teams coordinator Michael Clay is fired up. Bigsby has that natural vision, that ability to find lanes and break through contact, the kind of things you can't really teach. Now, obviously, adjusting to a new team mid-season isn't simple. He's got to get comfortable, learn the playbook, settle in. But once he does, it sounds like the Eagles plan to unleash him, both on special teams and in the offense. And that plan became even more important after Tuesday's tough news about Will Shipley. A fractured rib is no joke. Depending on the severity, he could be out for weeks or even months. That's a blow. Shipley was supposed to be a big part of the rotation, especially in the passing game. So now the Eagles might have to lean on Bigsby sooner than expected, and in more ways than one. The thing is, Bigsby isn't just some special teams guy. He's a legit running back. Last season, he racked up nearly 800 rushing yards and 7 touchdowns. He finished 3rd in the league in yards after contact per attempt, over 3.7, and forced 46 missed tackles. That put him top 11 in the league. His elusive rating? 4th best in the NFL. The guy makes defenders miss and fights for extra yards, something every team needs in close games and in the 4th quarter. But here's where it gets tricky. Bigsby hasn't really shown much as a pass catcher, and his pass protection is still a work in progress. So while he can definitely make an impact between the tackles, the Eagles are probably going to lean on A.J. Dillon a bit more in passing situations when Saquon Barkley isn't on the field. That said, in in-game scenarios where Philly is protecting a lead and looking to control the clock, don't be surprised if Bigsby is the one getting those bruising carries to help ice the game. And with Saquon being the engine of the offense, the more fresh legs they can throw at teams, the better. Bigsby might not have been a headline-grabbing trade, but his impact could sneak up on people. That's the kind of move that pays off in December. Meanwhile, on the disciplinary side, Jalen Carter finally got some clarity. The NFL has decided not to suspend him, instead counting his early ejection as a de facto 1-game suspension. He's also been fined over $57,000, basically an entire game check. So, while he's avoiding a formal suspension, he definitely didn't get off completely free. And even though the league is done with the situation, it sounds like the Eagles might not be. Head coach Nick Sirianni made it clear that any team discipline would be handled privately, which means this might not be the end of it from an internal standpoint. Defensive coordinator Vic Fangio didn't mince words when asked about Carter, either. He said leadership isn't about talking, it's about actions. And right now, Carter needs to prove that he can be a leader through his behavior, not just his performance. For a guy with his talent, it's a lesson that needs to sink in fast. Because the Eagles are building something special on that side of the ball, and they can't afford distractions. Fangio also gave some honest feedback on the secondary, particularly rookie safety Andrew Mukuba. The initial plan was to rotate Mukuba and Sidney Brown based on formation. Brown in base, Mukuba in nickel. But against Dallas, they ended up staying in nickel far more than expected, which gave Mukuba a lot more snaps. Unfortunately, that came with some growing pains. Fangio said straight up that Mukuba had a couple of major busts that hurt the team and could have hurt them more. Not exactly glowing praise, but it's also what you'd expect for a rookie still adjusting to the NFL speed. Even with all the roster movement and big performances, the Eagles aren't done making headlines, especially as they gear up for what might be their biggest early test of the season against the Chiefs. And one of the most fascinating storylines heading into this matchup is the continued evolution of the Eagles' defensive front, now bolstered by new names, but also marked by the rise of players already on the roster. The depth is being tested, roles are shifting, and every snap is being evaluated under a microscope. It's a defense with elite upside, but also with real decisions ahead, and not all of them are easy. Let's go back to Josh Uche for a moment. What makes his Week 1 dominance so impressive isn't just the numbers, it's the context. This is a player who wasn't a household name. He wasn't expected to lead the league in pass rush win rate or be the highest graded defender in all of football. But when you look at the tape, it's not a fluke. His speed off the line is explosive. His hand technique is sharp. His instincts, timing, and motor all stood out. And that kind of performance against a team like Dallas, a team known for having a strong offensive line, means something. If Uche can keep even half of that level of play up over the next few weeks, this Eagles defense might be entering a completely new tier. And he's not the only one making that leap. Jihad Campbell has gone from intriguing prospect to immediate contributor, and it doesn't seem like that's slowing down anytime soon. The guy looks fast, confident, and most importantly, he's around the ball. His athleticism shows up on every snap, and even when he makes mistakes, you can see that he's learning, adjusting, and not repeating them. The pass breakup he had over the middle of the field, that's not something most linebackers can do, let alone in their first professional game. That kind of range and ball skills are rare. What's really wild is that Campbell was never supposed to be the guy in Week 1. He was supposed to rotate in, learn behind veterans, maybe make a few splash plays. But he's already forced the coaching staff to take notice. And now, with Nakobe Dean's return on the horizon, the Eagles are staring at one of the hardest questions a defensive staff can face. Do you bench the rookie who's outperforming expectations and riding momentum? Or do you shake things up and hope Dean can match the energy Campbell is bringing to the field? It's not about who's better long-term. It's about who gives the defense the most right now. And right now, that might actually be the rookie. But this isn't just about Campbell or Dean. Zach Bond, the other half of this linebacker duo, has quietly been one of the most steady and reliable players on the field. No one's really talking about it, but Bond has been playing like a seasoned veteran. He reads plays well, rarely misses tackles, and has shown he can handle both coverage responsibilities and run fits. The Eagles might have stumbled into the kind of linebacker duo that championship teams are built around. The physical tools, the communication, the coverage instincts, it's all there. And for a franchise that struggled to find consistent linebacker play in recent years, this is a massive shift. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Whispers in the NFL corridors have finally turned into a deafening roar. Myles Garrett, the Browns' defensive titan, is reportedly set to become the latest superstar to don Eagles green. Sources close to the team's hint that the trade has been confirmed, sending shockwaves through both fan bases and igniting a frenzy on social media. For years, Garrett has been the centerpiece of Cleveland's defense, a relentless force who terrorized quarterbacks with a blend of power, speed, and instinct. Now, rumors suggest Philadelphia is not just acquiring a player. They're adding a game-changing identity to their roster. The deal, which insiders say involved multiple draft picks and possibly a key player swap, reflects the Eagles' audacious pursuit of defensive dominance. While details remain murky, the chatter in locker rooms and on sports talk shows paints a picture of a franchise willing to shake the NFL landscape. Speculation runs wild about how Garrett's arrival will transform the Eagles' defensive scheme. Could this be the missing piece that propels them back into Super Bowl contention? Analysts are split, but one thing is clear: opponents will now have to rethink their game plans entirely. On the Browns side, the trade marks the end of an era. Garrett has been synonymous with Cleveland's defensive identity, and letting him go suggests a bold new direction for the team. Rumors hint that the Browns are eyeing a rebuild, focusing on young talent and draft capital, but fans are bracing for a roller coaster of emotions. Meanwhile, Eagles supporters are already imagining highlight reels of Garrett ripping through offensive lines, sacks piling up, and a defense that could rival the league's best. As the rumor mill spins faster, insiders are pointing to a potential announcement in the coming days, just before the season kickoff, ensuring maximum media buzz. If true, this trade would instantly become one of the most talked about moves of the offseason, fueling debates in sports bars, podcasts, and Twitter threads nationwide. One thing is certain, Myles Garrett in Philadelphia is not just a transaction, it's a statement. The NFL landscape may never look the same again. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.